What's good, boys? If you're an info offer owner, a growth operator, a sales manager, or even a closer, this might be the most important video you watch this week. Because today I'm going to break down exactly how I took a sales team from a 28% close rate to a 40% close rate and to a 70% close rate and hit 20K plus days consistently in less than 60 days. I'm going to give you the entire system on exactly what I did and how you can implement it in your business and your sales team as well. I'll show you guys the numbers. You can see before I joined the team and started consulting them, they were doing anywhere between 25 to 29% in close rate. And then right after I started working with them, we started hitting 40% plus consistently in their close rate. And then this past week, we had our best week ever, where we did a 70.5% close rate. We only took 17 calls, closed 12 of them, collected $64,000 in cash. Just to show you these numbers are real, you can see we had back-to-back 20K plus days. We actually ended up doing 25K plus this day. We processed a little bit on another payment processor, and then we ended up doing 100K in a week as well. So today I'm going to show you all the changes, including the pitch changes, the training system, the culture shifts, and even the exact objection handling that moved the needle and allowed us to go from a 28% close rate to a low 40s and to a 70% close rate where we do 20K plus days now. My promise for you today is I'm going to show you exactly how I diagnosed the bottlenecks, how I rebuilt the pitch, how to actually make a conditional guarantee that prints, and the training and accountability machine that allows your closers to perform at a very high level, the culture change so that your closers continue to perform at a very high level, and most importantly, they don't churn, exactly how we hit a 70.5% close rate this week, and stealable tactics that you can implement in your sales team literally today. Why should you listen to me? Who am I? My name is Sham. I train elite sales reps and build high-performing sales teams. I have personally closed over $5 million in cash collected as a closer over the past 2 years. So unlike every other sales coach out there, I have actually been in the trenches as a closer and trained tons of closers as well. And I'm giving you exactly what is working in the trenches right now, not just some theory that I came up with. I recently presented in front of a 200-person audience at a Her Last Call Academy where I gave a sales training. This is me right here with my sales team, the same sales team that ended up doing a 70.5% close rate this week. I want to give you guys some context on what was going on before I actually stepped into this offer. So the offer is a webinar offer. So they run a webinar funnel where there's a 997 front end offer. And in the back end, there was a 5K upsell and a 7.5K upsell. Instantly, I could tell the offer was very, very strong and the webinar was very, very good. The team was very, very motivated, but they lacked training. There were also no setters on the team. The pitch wasn't the sexiest in the world. There were no risk reversals for the actual buyers. Pre-call SOPs were very, very lackluster. There's very minimal accountability for the closers. Like I said, no consistent training, no manager communication. The discovery and the objection handling was very, very weak. And the close rate was just stuck between 25 to 29%. Instantly after doing this audit and seeing what was actually going on, the reason why I thought this team was fixable is because it wasn't a bad team. They were very, very motivated, but they were just undercoached, undertrained, and just lacked the fundamentals to actually scale this team up to a very, very high level. So this entire change that we made, going from 25% or 28% to 40%, required making no change to the offer. Now, to take us from 40 to 70%, there was a slight change in the offer, which I'm going to break down as well, and I'm going to give away all the secrets for you guys. Here's exactly how I like to diagnose every single sales team I go to figure out what the bottlenecks are. If you're a sales manager, if you're a growth operator, if you're an offer owner, this is the exact type of thing you should be going through to make your sales team perform better. You should be listening to every single call. You should be listening to how all of your reps are actually pitching your offer, because I guarantee you all of them are pitching in a different way, how they're positioning the offer, what the show rate of your offer is, what's the follow-up SOP for clients that don't close on the first call, what is the rep behavior pre-call, how many times is the lead being hit up, how fast is the lead being hit up, how many times are they confirming that they're going to show up, are they texting the day of, the night before. You have to know all this stuff. And what is their communication like with their manager? And how is your rep actually thinking about attacking sales calls? The root causes I found what allowed this team to not perform at a very high level was just 8 main things that I knew I could come in and fix. Number 1, the pitch was not compelling. Number 2, there was no risk reversal. Number 3, the pre-call was very, very sloppy, which was hindering the show rate. Number 4, there was no training or day structures. Reps would just take calls all day, not get feedback on those calls, not get live training. Number 5, there was no accountability, similar to number 4, where there was just not much training, not much hand holding for the reps. Pipeline discipline was non-existent, so if leads weren't closing on the first call, they were not getting collected from whatsoever. Discovery questions were very, very weak. The sales call was being ran at a very surface level, which can only take you so far. And the reps, most importantly, weren't practicing at all. They were just taking calls, not really getting any feedback, not really getting polished on their skill sets, not really improving, just continuing to do more volume with the same skill set. And if you're going to keep your skill set the same, you can't expect your results to actually get better. So as soon as I narrowed down these 8 causes, which are different for every single team, but for this team, this is what I figured out what the issues were. Then I decided to attack each and every single one by pulling 3 main levers. So lever 1 was fixing the pitch and then training the team consistently. Now, a lot of people don't understand the importance of a pitch. I've been on tons of sales teams where all the pitch training was them getting the offer deliverables, and it was up to the rep to craft the pitch. Now, you can do that if you have all 8+ reps and they're all trained to the maximum capability and they're all rock stars. But the reality is you have to develop sales reps. You're not just going to get a rock star from day one. And if you can't develop sales reps, you cannot scale your company very, very far. Step 1 of developing your sales reps is having a very compelling pitch for them to say it over and over and over and over again. Your pitch needs to be very, very fine-tuned for your exact offer. I cannot emphasize the importance of a great pitch enough. The pitch alone can take you from a 25% close rate to a 45% close rate just by making a banger pitch and having your reps practice it over and over and over and over. So here's the key insights of what you need to think about when you're writing a pitch. Number 1, you need to have a really, really good hook. You want to make the pitch so compelling and hook them in so quick that they want to sit through the 20 minutes of you breaking it down why this upsell is going to be so much more valuable for them. You want emotional framing as well. You need to figure out, why would this client benefit from this offer? Why would this client benefit from buying a higher ticket offer? Not just what features they would get, but emotionally what that would do for them. And the reason why I highlighted the 3rd point is because this is the most important point, is most pitches and most info offers, they just talk about the feature and not the benefit of that feature. This is so important because your clients don't actually care about the features. They care about what the features are going to get them. If I'm buying an iPhone, I don't care that the iPhone has a 17 megapixel camera. I care that all the pictures that I take from now on will be crystal clear and the memories I have will be in 4K forever. That's what I actually care about. That's the benefit. The 17 megapixel camera, I could not give less of a fuck about. But the memories being crystal clear in 4K and having them forever, that is the benefit I get from the 17 megapixel camera. I'm going to elaborate on that as well. You want a clarity of transformation, exactly what you're going to do by selling them this high ticket offer. How are they going to go from point A to point B and how different their life is going to be. You want to remove all the friction points, what makes people typically say no to this offer. And you want to streamline logic flow. So you want a natural way to ascend these buyers into the higher ticket portion of your program. And you want to practice so much that your reps feel super, super confident delivering this pitch. Here's an example of how you can actually make your pitch better. Let's say your coaching program offers 3 group coaching calls a week. So instead of your rep saying, yeah, so the very first thing you get by working with us is 3 group coaching calls a week, you need to talk about the feature, which is the 3 group calls, and then the benefit of that feature. So the way I rewrote this was you get 3 coaching calls a week with a millionaire closer who has done exactly what you are looking to do at the highest level. They work with you personally in a small group setting to help you figure out exactly the changes you need to make in your discovery and close to increase your close rate while taking less calls so that you can spend more time with your family, or so that you can travel more, or so that you can buy your dream car, whatever the desired outcome is. That is so much more sexier than just hearing you have 3 coaching calls a week, because you're tying the feature with the benefit and giving them a clarity of the exact transformation this offer is going to do for them. I can't emphasize this enough. The pitch is so freaking important. Every good team I've ever been on, every rep pitches the same exact way. And there's a reason for that. It's because the pitch has been polished to such an extent where it works so freaking well, where there's no reason for you to put your own spin on it. Obviously, you can add a little bit of tinkers here and there. You can add more detail here, less detail here. That's fine. But overall, 80%, overwhelming majority of the pitch needs to be the same among every single rep. The very first lever I pulled was rewriting the pitch and making sure that there was features and there was also benefits that were clear from those features. The second thing I did to make the offer a no-brainer was I added a conditional guarantee. Now, a lot of coaches and offer owners are scared to add guarantees because, number 1, their fulfillment sucks. And number 2, they think it's going to attract a lower quality buyer. But everyone talks about how we are in an info trust recession right now. So instead of trying to battle the market and give them something they don't want, you should be confident enough in your product where you can offer them a conditional guarantee where it actually makes sense for you as a business owner. Here's how I typically structure my conditional guarantees. If you do X, Y, and Z in ABC timeline and don't achieve desired outcome, we will give you a full refund. If you're not confident enough in doing that, you can offer, if you do X, Y, and Z in ABC timeline and don't achieve desired outcome, we will work with you for free until you do. For an example, it would be like if you watch the full course, get one client to work with you, and you work with them for at least 1 month in 45 days, and you aren't satisfied with our coaching, we will give you a full refund. The reason for that, and the reason why this conditional guarantee hits so freaking good and actually prevents a lot of refunds, believe it or not, is because you are figuring out what are the inputs your clients have to do to make it impossible for them not to see results, and make that the conditional guarantee. So if they do the work, it's guaranteed that they will get results and are happy. And if they don't do the work, they're not eligible for a refund. This lowers the perceived risk on your client's end and puts the ball in their court of pretty much you being so confident in your abilities in your program, where if they do the work and then they're not happy with you, you will give them a full refund. But if they don't do the work, there's no chance of them ever getting a refund. This is such a powerful tactic in sales because you are literally showing them the amount of confidence you have in your offer. And you're not giving an unconditional guarantee where if something is wrong, you can just get a refund. No. It's a conditional guarantee in conditions of X, Y, and Z in ABC timeline. And if you do this and then you're not happy with us, we give you a full refund. This is so powerful because it makes them do the work. No lead will ever admit they don't want to do the work. They all might not do the work once they join the program, but no one will ever admit on a sales call that they don't want to do the work. That's why these conditional guarantees are so powerful. Now, the typical resistance I get from offer owners before adding conditional guarantee is that they just don't feel confident enough in their fulfillment, and they feel like clients are going to ask for a refund without actually doing the conditions, which rarely happens because you make it so explicitly clear on a sales call that, hey, you do not get a refund if you don't do X, Y, and Z in ABC timeline. Are you cool with that? Does that make sense? And the number one objection every sales rep gets is the client's fear. And most of the times, the client's fear is not them doing the work. The client's fear is they'll buy the program, they'll do the work, and then they won't get the results. That is 99% of the time what the client's fear is. But if you can just squash that fear by saying, look, if you do the inputs X, Y, and Z in ABC timeline, and then you decide you're not happy with us, we will give you a full refund. It eliminates all the perceived risk in their mind because they know or they think they're going to do the work. And then if then it doesn't work out for them, you'll give them a refund or you'll work with them for free until they do. So it lowers the perceived risk in their mind. It also allows the reps to sell the offer harder because they can push back on objections and say, look, I understand you're scared. I understand you want to think about it. I understand you want to talk to your wife. Whatever the objection is, I understand you want to sleep on it, pray on it, whatever the bullshit objection is. But are you going to do the work? Okay, cool. And if you're going to do the work, then it is literally risk-free. If you're going to do the work. And if you're not, then it's not risk-free. Your objections become way easier to handle. They actually soften. And your conviction in your sales reps actually increase because they can see how confident you are about your offer. It might seem like you're taking on more of a risk by giving this conditional guarantee, but I can guarantee you for a fact we've had a low refund rate ever since we implemented this because we make it so abundantly clear there are no refunds if you don't do the work. And when you set the expectation right away, everyone's coming into the program with the expectation of working harder as well. And if that still doesn't convince you enough to add a conditional guarantee in your offer, you should really look at your fulfillment because you should be able to find the inputs that make it impossible for your clients not to see results. If you can't quantifiably come up with the inputs that your clients need to see results, then you can't expect them to succeed in the first place. Make the conditional guarantee the inputs that your clients have to do that make it impossible for them not to see results, and make that the conditional guarantee. And I guarantee you when you put this in your offer and you make the sales reps practice pitching it the correct way, your close rate's going to shoot up because you're lowering the perceived risk on your client's end. The third thing that I was working on with this offer was their pre-call SOP. Their show rate was about 50% on Ascension calls. So on a webinar funnel, the front end buyer buys something for $997. And then they get booked on customer success calls or welcome calls, which basically bring them into the program, catching them on what they have, and then breaking down the high ticket offer and pitching that as well. And having a 50% show rate on that is not very good. Ideally, you want in the 80s and 90s, but at the bare minimum, 65 to 75% is what you want your show rate to be on webinar buyers. So before I came in, the old way the reps were doing their pre-call was they were kind of just winging it. They were reaching out to the leads themselves between calls when they had time. They were super slow to get to every single lead. They were hitting them with a normal text of, hey, I see you booked at this time. Are you good to go for that? Okay, awesome. They might send a voice note sometimes. They might send a video sometimes, or they might not text the lead at all. The new way I introduced was to have a structured pre-call SOP and a dedicated person, a sales admin, just to do pre-call. So I made a specific hire of someone titled sales admin, and you pay them about $1,000 to $2,000 a month, depending on what your offer can afford. And their entire job is to just hit the lead as fast as it comes in. Speed to lead is so important, no matter what kind of funnel you're running. It'll just increase the amount of calls you book, how many of them show up, and eventually how many of them close, just because you're bringing in more volume from the clients you already have. And as soon as the client books a call, I want my sales admin to call them and text them, confirm with them that they're going to show up at this time, and then the sales admin makes a group chat with themselves, the closer, and the prospect. And then the sales admin sends a welcome message, welcoming them into the program, confirming the time once again. And then when the reps have time between their calls, that's when they hit up the lead of, hey, good to meet you. Looking forward to speaking with you at XYZ time. By the way, here's some context on me. And you break down a little bit about why you're speaking to them, what you've accomplished before as a sales rep. And then we also made them record a pre-call FAQs video, which is basically a 20-minute long video that each and every single sales rep records, going over the offer's most common objections. Is it saturated? Are too many people doing it? How much does it cost me to do it? How much time do I need? Do I need to be good at XYZ? All the most common objections your offer gets, you want it in this pre-call FAQs video. That way, before the lead even jumps on the call, they're being pre-handled through that video. And before the lead shows up on the call, you want to confirm with them that they actually watched the video. Like, hey, I just got in the office, down my first coffee of the day. I see our call is confirmed at 6 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to speaking with you then. Have you had a chance to watch our video yet? Yes? Okay, awesome. Speak with you then. Boom. Now you just confirm that they're going to show up at the time. You hit them with a funny little message that they know, okay, he's not just checking in on me. He's not just following up. And number 3, they watch the pre-call FAQs video, which helps you handle objections and increase certainty in your offer before even jumping on the sales call. The 3 fixes I made was rewriting the pitch, adding the conditional guarantee, and then making a polished pre-call SOP. This alone took us to a 40% close rate. Now, the second lever I pulled was the actual training of the sales reps. The thing I noticed was there was a lack of training on this team. Like, the managers would speak on this team about maybe once a month or maybe twice a month and just have a normal chat with the sales reps. When you're running a high-performing sales team, they're like a group of athletes. They need to train and practice every single day, even off the court. Like, imagine if the Lakers only did practice twice a month and they just played games every single day. They wouldn't be very good. They wouldn't have time to game plan. They wouldn't have time to watch game tape. They wouldn't actually get better. They would just be doing the same thing over and over and over again. No matter how motivated your reps are, motivation is not skill. They need to constantly be working on their skill set, improving and getting better. And nothing will improve their skill set more than repetition. And the best way I found to train a sales team is by making them drill the sales script. So every single step that you have on your script, I use a 9-point checkpoint script. If you want to know what that script is, you can click the link in my description, join my free sales community, where I break down my exact sales script, my exact free course, exactly how I actually sell on sales calls. But I made my team practice these 9 steps, and every single day on our sales training, we would practice 1 or 2 steps. So whether that's the pitch, all sales reps would go one by one, pitching me exactly how they would pitch on a call, or doing discovery with me exactly how they would do discovery on a sales call, or objection handling me exactly how they would objection handle on a sales call. The key thing to understand here is you don't want to practice until you get it right. You want to practice until you can't get it wrong. That's how embodied, that's how printed every single step of the script should be in your rep's brain, that they literally cannot get it wrong. If I wake one of my reps up at 4 a.m. and I say, pitch me right now, they should be able to recite the pitch off the top of their head. That's how many times they should practice this pitch. It is so important to treat your sales team like a group of athletes and make them train off the sales calls every single day. Here's how I structure my daily training. So I train my team 5 times a week. And like I said, we do script drilling, we do objection handling rapid fire, we do live role plays, we do call reviews, and also we do 2 p.m. daily sales training where we go over all of this. So 2 p.m. every single day from Monday to Friday, I sit down with my sales team and I walk through these 4 things to actually make them better. Now, the reason why I like 2 p.m. is because it gives them enough time to start taking the first couple calls of the day where they get a couple reps under their belt. Then at 2 p.m., we figure out how the first half of the day has went, what we can do better. We practice the things that they struggled on today, so then the rest of their calls are better as well. So that is the structure I used to actually train my team every single day. Here's how I keep all my reps accountable as well, because structure and training is really good. More important is going to be accountability and making sure that they actually want to get better. So I have daily reporting with my sales team. So they submit end of call reports after every single call and an end of day report showing me how their day went. Then we do week by week deep dive. So at the end of every single week, we have a leaderboard check-in where week by week we figure out, okay, who's the top closer and who's the bottom closer, who are the middle closers. I go one by one, speaking to every single one of the reps, figuring out what made them perform so good, what made them not perform so good, how they felt about this week, what could be better this week, how the leads are. Everything we go over week by week. So number one, they feel heard, but number two, they're also being held accountable for their performance. Individually, I hold every single one of my reps accountable for their performance. This way you're setting real standards on your team, and your team is not just hiding behind volume. They're not just taking a bunch of calls, burning a bunch of leads without actually getting better. They get to be held accountable for their inputs and their outputs. And another thing I introduced was pipeline discipline. I noticed this team was not closing that many deals on their second calls. So I taught them how I actually book a tie down. The way Hormozi teaches how to book tie downs is pretty similar to how I do it. It's called BAMFAM, BAM FAM. Book a meeting from a meeting. So every time you can't close a lead on the first call, there's no reason for you not to talk to them again. You should be talking to them again. And the best way I've found to talk to them again without seeming salesy or without seeming like a follow-up call, especially on webinar buyers, is by setting a call 30 days out as an accountability check-in. Because the whole framing on a webinar ascension call should be a customer success call. The lead shouldn't feel like they're talking to a sales rep at all. They should feel like they're talking to someone who's looking out for their success, a customer success person. So when they don't buy on the first call, if they don't buy on the first call, you want to book a tie down, a second call, either 15 to 30 days out as an accountability check-in to see how they're performing in the front end program. Now, whether they're performing good or whether they're performing bad, you're going to have equal opportunities to actually upsell them 15 to 30 days from now. If they're performing good, amazing. They landed a role. They're making money. They started the business. They're making money. Good. Now they have money to actually be able to ascend into high ticket to scale. If they're not performing well, if they're not seeing results, if they're not doing well, perfect. Now it's even more of a reason for them to get more accountability, more support, more help to buy your higher ticket offer. Either way, they have an incentive to buy. But if you don't book these accountability calls, every time you follow up or you check in, it seems very, very salesy. That's why this is such a powerful way to book follow-ups, is by doing accountability check-ins and making sure your team actually performs 15, 30 days out. And the reason why this is so good as well is because you can talk to a lead today and they might not buy today, but 15 to 30 days from now, you might only have to talk to them for 20 minutes and they're going to give you $5,000 to $7,500. Right? So you plant the seed today and you might eat it 15 to 30 days from now. That's the key here. Also keeping your CRM very, very clean, right? Actually noting down, okay, why am I speaking to this lead in 15 days or 30 days? Okay, let me write this down in the CRM so I don't forget. This way, you can consistently have second, third call closes and not just rely on one call closes. Ideally, we want every single lead to close on the first call, but that's just not the reality of sales. Some people are going to close on the second call, the third call, even the fourth call. You need to have the hygiene and the motivation and the discipline to do these things, these little effort things to make sure your sales team performs at a very high level. And then the result of this is what pushed us into low 40% close rate, even with the same lead. So literally, these are the exact changes I made to take us from a 25% close rate, 28% close rate to a low 40% close rate. I rewrote the pitch exactly like this. I added a conditional guarantee. I made a pre-call SOP for the team to follow. And then we did daily training 5 times a week. And then we had accountability systems. On top of that, I taught them how to actually follow up with their pipeline. And this alone got our close rate to 40% with the exact same leads. Nothing was changed about the offer here. Nothing was changed about the front end webinar. Nothing was changed at all besides just introducing more accountability, more support, a better pitch, and everything I mentioned before. You can make double the amount of money on the back end just by improving your sales process and having more discipline with your sales reps and having more accountability with your sales rep. This is so important because a lot of offer owners don't understand the importance of sales. They just think, how can I make more content? How can I get more leads? How can I spend more money on ads? But all of that is wasted. But they forget that there's an opportunity cost of wasting so many leads when your team is not skilled enough to actually handle that much volume. And the third lever I pulled was culture and identity shift with my team. One of the best quotes I've learned is what you tolerate, you might as well promote. Okay, so if you tolerate your sales reps not training, if you tolerate your sales reps not practicing outside of the sales calls, if you tolerate your team being mediocre, you might as well promote that within your company. The things that build culture and identity shifts and bring that competitive spirit out of your team are leaderboards, money motivation, friendly rivalries, daily meetings, recognition of wins, and the pressure to actually improve. If you can do all 6 of these things within your sales team over the next 30 to 60 days, you're going to see a massive difference in your reps' mindsets and their performances. And the reason why culture is also very important, because I definitely didn't think the culture was that important before. Because I was also always, as a sales rep, I was always motivated by myself. I didn't really need anyone else to motivate me. But one of my clients, William Rivera, he said this very important thing a few days ago that really stuck with me ever since. He said, when you're on a team with no culture, the only motivation to stay with that team is money. That is the only motivation. So the first down month you have in your offer, all your reps churn because there's no culture instilled in that offer. But when there's actually culture instilled in the offer, when their reps actually like working for the company, when they actually feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves, yeah, money's a motivator, but it is not the motivator. It is not the only motivator. So if the only motivator you're gonna have for your sales reps is no culture, just money, the first down month you have in your offer, all of them are gonna be gone. Okay, so it's so important to negate churn by actually building a culture in your sales team. Here's the identity shift I instilled in all my closers is I made them believe they're 70% closers. I made them literally practice so much. I made them do so many checkpoint drills. I made them go through so many objection handling techniques. I literally built a cheat sheet for them that they printed out and all have in front of them on how to handle every single objection ever. So if they run into any objection ever, they simply flip to the page of the exact objection they got, and they can read off word for word for word exactly how to handle that objection. And then we practice that 100 times to the point where they don't even need that script anymore. They don't even need that cheat sheet anymore. Right? These are the standards you need to hold your sales team to get better performance out of them. You are not going to get better performance out of them magically out of nowhere. You have to do the inputs to get the outputs of the better performance. Okay? And when your team practices this much and they feel good about themselves, they feel good about the offer, they feel good about the pitch, they feel good about their discovery, there's better energy on the calls. The buyers, all the leads, all the prospects jumping on the sales calls can feel that certainty that your closer has in the offer. And at the end of the day, sales is all a transfer of certainty. If your reps are not certain in the offer, you're not going to close a lot. But if your reps are super certain in the offer and very, very importantly, just as certain in themselves to be able to sell the offer, that's when you're going to close a lot. And like I said about culture literally multiplies all the skills. Right? Most importantly, it keeps retention on the reps, right? Sales is well known to have a lot of churn. Sales reps churn all the time. Even with the best culture, it's bound to happen. But you can negate so much of that by building a culture that actually forces reps to practice. You keep the pipeline clean and you create pride and excellence and you make them buy into a vision that's bigger than themselves. When they work for your company, they shouldn't just feel like they're selling a course. They should feel like they're literally genuinely impacting thousands of people's lives and that their futures are going to be brighter by continuing to do this. That is what you have to get every single one of the reps to buy into, or else they're just not going to buy into it. Or else when someone offers them more money, or else when you have a down month, they're just going to leave. And you can negate this by just treating your people well. I see so many times where offer owners feel like the reps are just disposable, feel like they're not worth much. Sales reps are like the heart of your business. They're the ones pumping the blood all throughout the business's body. So when you treat your reps as disposable, guess what? They're going to leave and your business is going to be fucked. Treat your reps well. Treat them well. Pay them well. That's what's going to allow your business to flourish long term. And doing this over the past 60 days is really what allowed us to have our breakthrough week this week. Now, there were certain tweaks that we made this week that allowed us to go from a 40% close rate to a 70% close rate, and I'm going to break them all down for you as well. So number one thing that changed was there was a higher lead quality this week because we increased the front end offer from $997 to $1,497. That is the only change we made. We just changed the price. We didn't change anything else. And that brought in so much better of a lead quality. So with the same exact system, with the same exact pitch, with the same exact training that got them to 40%, now is allowing them to close at 70%, right? So we took 17 calls, closed 12 of them, and daily cash collected spiked. The team now expects to win. and we're closing at a 70% close rate. The biggest lesson here is that when your systems are tight, better leads are not just helping, they explode your business, right? You can imagine if this team got this leads like this when they were closing at 28%, they would be closing right now about 40%. Now they're closing at about 70%. That's a massive, massive difference for you as the business owner just by instilling these habits, this training, and these tactics inside of your business. Okay. So, yes, definitely make your marketing better. As a sales rep, I will always tell you make the marketing better, get better leads through the door. But better leads alone are not going to allow you to make fuck you more money. You need the right systems combined with the better leads to really have explosive exponential growth. And that's exactly what we saw this week, where we had a $100,000 week. Now, here's the stealable tactics for you to literally steal and instill in your business today. Number one, add a conditional guarantee to instantly boost the amount of people that take you up on the back end high ticket offer. Number two, rewrite your pitch around the benefits. A sexy pitch will lead to more closes. Number three, train daily, not weekly. Train your reps every single day after they're taking the first couple calls of the day. Review the calls with them. Make them practice every single checkpoint of the script. Make them practice objections. Make them practice discovery. Train them like actual athletes every single day. Number four, build a pre-call SOP. Your show rate is the foundation of your close rate. So you want to make sure almost all of your leads are showing up on a sales call. You should have the mindset of how do I make every single lead show up and make your pre-call like that. Number five, keep your pipeline clean and develop the hygiene standards of doing follow-ups, of booking tie downs, of actually putting in the effort to chase the lead down and get them 15 to 30 days from now. And number six, build culture so you can increase your retention and your sharp team closes sharp. So here's the wrap up of exactly how I took this team from 28% close rate to a 40% close rate to now a 70% close rate. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was pitch, plus the training, plus the culture, plus the consistency, and obviously now with the front end offer being changed, plus the better marketing. Now, if you found this training valuable, all I ask that you do is follow me on Instagram at ShameerER, and you can join my free sales community where I drop sales tips every single day. I give away my exact free course on how I broke into high ticket sales and how you as an info offer business owner can make your sales process better. It's linked in the description. You can join it now. It's completely free. I hope you found this video helpful. Subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on, like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, follow me on Instagram and join my free sales community if you like money. I'll catch you guys in the next one.